can read as a word by, and the second word also I can read as by if when I don't know the pronunciation, when I don't know the letter properly. But if I know the first letter is pronounced as B and the second letter is P, then I can read the first word is by, the second word is pi. So these differentiation takes place when you know the alphabets of the language that you are learning. And secondly, you should know certain words and the pronunciation of those words. For example, there could be a word which has the same spelling, but it may differ in the pronunciation and it may give different meaning as per the different pronunciation. That context, I have given you the word, the tear or tear, whatever you call it, TEAR. Just got two pronunciations. Can you say the differentiation? What does it mean when I say tear, and what does it mean when I say tear? Is there any difference in these two words?
Yes, sir. One tier is it's break down, tear the paper like that, sir. And another means eye care, eye drops.
Okay, what is tear?
Sir, it's based on the sentence.
Okay,
Sir,
but
your screen is not visible. Sir.
yeah, sorry. Even with the pronunciation, you can just guess the meaning. No, tear and tear are two different. They give two different meanings. These two pronunciation give two different meanings. Can anyone say? Anyone else? Murin has been responding. Can anyone help him? What is tear and what is tear?
Sir, tear means eye drops.
Yeah, that's
Eye.
correct. What is tear?
Tear the paper
Yeah,
like that,
tear the
sir.
paper or tear the cloth, whatever. When you tear, you are making one thing into two pieces or in plenty of pieces. That is tearing. What is tear? Tear is the drops that fall from the eye. I want to make sure how many of you are in this session at now, at present. How many of you are active? Can you send any message? Do you follow me? Only Murugan has been responding. What about Jinosi, Jane, Ranjit, Sharu? Are you all there or you have just logged into the Google Meet and you have some other jobs to be done? If you say something, I will go ahead. Otherwise, I'll stop here. Wants to say something from Hello App? Someone has joined from Hello App. Is my screen visible now?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll continue. If you're going to read, you may have to know basic grammar. If you don't know the basic grammar of that language, you may find it difficult to read. For instance, you may have to know the tense. Unless you know the tense, you cannot read. Can anyone of you read this sentence?
Tense, she read a novel.
She
Read a novel.
she read a novel because when you use third person singular in simple present tense, the verb may have to end with yes or ies or es form. Is it correct? We all know that rule, no? When we use third person singular in simple present tense, the verb must end with s or ies or es. Is that correct? You may know the rule, no? This is the basic rule. And if you apply that, then what it could be? It could be the simple present tense or simple past tense. You just read, she read a novel. So it's supposed to be she read a novel because it is a past tense. And if it is a present tense, there should be yes. So by that you have to understand which tense. But unless you know the tense, you may not be able to read it properly. You may you may wrongly read like what I did, no, or like someone has done it. But congrats, thanks for your attempt. So this must be read. She read a novel. Secondly, we must know basic parts of speech. How many parts of speech are there in English?
8.
Yeah, eight. We must know it. Punctuations. In reading, we also have to know punctuations. Different marks. For different marks, we have to end the reading in a different way. Can anyone of you read the sentences given here? What are you doing or what are you doing? Text is same, but it ends with different punctuational the symbol which indicates the type of the sentence. Can anyone of you read it?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What's the difference?
The expression.
Yeah, what does it mean by saying "What are you doing?" The question mark, and what is the meaning that you are conveying? What's the message that you are conveying by saying "What are you doing?"
You ask questions, sir.
Yeah, in first case, actually you don't know what someone is doing. In that context, you may ask, "What are you doing?" In the second context, you are seeing him. He is doing something which he is supposed, which he is not advised to do or which he should not do. He is doing in the thing which he is not advised to do. In that case, you can say, "What are you doing?" You know that's the differentiation in these two sentences. Ultimately, the image of the letters enters into your brain when you read, and they are decoded into words, as I said, and those collection of words are decoded into sentences. And thus, you start to read to get the meaning of the text. This is the process that happens in your brain when you are given a text to read. I want each of you to read this sentence. Sorry, to read this paragraph. Please kindly take turn to read. How many of you can read it?
Sir, according to the researcher at Cambridge University, it does not matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The reset can be total mess and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
Yeah, good, Murugan. The other one, any other one? But each of you have to read. Each of you has to read, and I will wait until you read it.
According to a research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The reset can be a total mess and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
Congrats. Thanks, Cecilia. Who is Genosi? Can you read Genosi?
According to a research at Cambridge University, it does not matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The reset can be a total mess and you can still read it mm, without problems. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
How many of you understood this paragraph?
Right.
Yeah, Charles has understood. Anyone else? Can you explain? Saru, Cecilia, can you explain it?
Okay.
Sir, sir, first, according to the research, Cambridge University survey that the result of that research is uh, in the letter, first letter and last letter is important because it it indicates what the word that is, because human mind does not read every letter, because the human mind read the whole word, so that only first letter and last letter is important, is, is in the right place, it is easy to read without any problem.
Good, good, good. Thank you. இப்போ ட்ரை பண்றீங்களா? ஷாரு, Cecilia, can you try?
Yes, sir.
Please.
According to the research of Cambridge University, they are tell about people's mind is something like this. Uh, then when we see the letter of the English, we saw the letter of first and ending of that word. Uh, we note that letters only, so we analyze that letters, so we can read easily. So that is the research of Cambridge University analyze.
Yeah, correct. When you are given a paragraph, I think none of these spellings are correct. Is that correct? Does it have a proper arrangement of the letters, or does it have jumbled words? It is completely. This paragraph is completely filled with jumbled letters. The letters in this paragraph are not in their own place where they are supposed to be. Correct. What those researchers have found out that when you are given a text, you may not read the full word before pronouncing it. You may just see the first letter of the word and the last letter of the word, and you just skip the rest of the letters, and you just conclude. And what could conclude? You come to the conclusion, and you read it in a hurry way. You may not be aware of this, but this is the fact which is happening with all of us. When we know basic grammar, while reading, we just look at the first letter and the last letter of the word, and we just simply read it without noticing the rest of the letters. That is why it has been easy for you to read. I will say some of you might have found it difficult, and all of you were able to read just because you are used to reading. That's why you were able to read. So this is part of the reading. What does it say? This is typoglycemia, which means the ability to read paragraphs like which have jumbled words in them, jumbled letters in them. So, there are certain basic rules where to pause in reading. What are they? Can you say where to pause while when I am reading a text? Where else should I pause? Do any one of you have the idea?
Any punctuation like comma, full
Okay, whenever
stop
you see a
at
punctuation,
the
you may
place.
have to stop. Where else?
Yes, sir. Most of the time.
Yeah. Where else? Any other place? Is there any other place where you have to pause?
Before that, then, but that kind of word.
Yeah, before those words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can I pause after those words like that?
Yes, sir.
Can I pause?
Sir,
No, no. Can I pause after the words like that, then?
sir, before and after also, we separately say that sir. Don't
But
include
what you said in the
reading.
first is correct. We have to
Sir?
pause before the word, not after the word. Okay. Prepositions and conjunctions. When you come across these words, you may have to stop before the word. Okay, we'll see certain rules. Pause at every end of sentence. Whenever a sentence ends, you must give a long pause, which indicates to the others that the sentence is over. Secondly, pause at every punctuational mark. If you are seeing a question mark or exclamatory mark, you may have to pause so that the other persons or the listeners understand that you have completed a sentence. Okay. Pause at the beginning of a clause. What is this? When I say, we know that if clause or whatever, when you are reading a sentence, if there is two parts, you cannot stop I'll pass if I study well. These kind of pauses are not proper. So what you have to do, if I work hard, I will pass. If I work hard, I will pass. This is a wrong way of reading. So you have to complete the first clause, and you may have to read the second clause at a stretch. If you find it difficult to read words together, you may give a slight pauses at every word, but you may have to differentiate the clauses by giving a long pause. That's the main idea of this. And secondly, sorry, that's something by mistake I have typed. Prepositions and following as one unit. They must be considered as one unit. Most of the time, we may read some of the people. This kind of reading is literally wrong. When you see a preposition, the basic and the important rule is that you have to, not you may, you have to stop just before the word, before the preposition. And the preposition and the following words must be considered as one unit, so that they must be read together. Some of you, if you cannot say, if you cannot read some of you, if you want to pause in between, you can only pause before the prepositions. He gave to me, not he gave to me. We can't read in that way. And when you are mostly, we often read the subject and verb together, and we consider them as one unit. If you are finding it very difficult to read, you can separate them by giving a very slight pause. Like Ramu and Raju have played basketball. You may give a slight pause, but the actual reading must be Ramu and Raju played basketball. This must be the actual way of reading, actual way of giving pause in between the sentence, in between the words. Okay, never pause after the preposition. This is the basic rule. We must learn it forever. But we often fail in this rule. Most of the time, some of us read after the preposition. We give pause after the prepositions. That's not wrong. That's not the correct way of reading. Okay. How many types of readings are there? Hello. There are certain
Yes,
ways, there are certain types of writing, types of readings. Everything, even writing has different types. Reading has different types.
no, sir. Don't know.
Sorry, friends, I had a short power cut. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Uh, do you know any basic types? Is there any type? Can you categorize types of reading?
Fast reading, slow reading.
Okay. Yeah, that could be any number of categorization. So one way is pre-reading. There must be a hyphen in between. Intensive reading, extensive reading, scanning, skimming. These are the basics ways of reading you may come across in any context. So what is basic pre-reading? It's nothing but flipping through the text in a minute or two. This is used in the situation when you are asked to read in common. For example, you are going for a meeting and you are given a report just before the meeting begins, and you may have 1 or 2 minutes, and in that time you may have to use this method before reading to the whole congregation or whole gathering. And in this you may have to find out the complicated words and the new words which you do not know. That would help you to read in a smooth way, in a better way, in a fluent way. That's the purpose of it. And mainly to get to know the pronunciation. When you are coming across a new word, you may read it wrongly and communicate wrongly to the listeners. So to avoid that kind of confusions, it's better that you find out the complicated words and the new words in the given text. And if you are not if you don't have time to learn the meaning, kindly check the pronunciation before reading it and get to know the place of the punctuations. For example, sentence could be I go to Chennai to buy a mango. And if I'm not seeing the word to buy a mango, what I may do, I may give a long pause in I go to Chennai, with which I may convey to the audience that the sentence is over. So that kind of confusions, that kind of misreading could be avoided only if you are just having the pre-reading. This is mainly used when you are asked to read at the last minute without preparation. Secondly, intensive reading. What is it? It is a close reading of the selected or given text. Close reading is what? Reading a word by word or letter by letter, kind of a detailed or analytical studies. The researchers use this kind of method. They read it word by word, letter by letter, and this aims at accuracy of comprehension. What is accuracy? The other one is. Can you say what is accuracy? What accuracy is? Can you say? Can anyone say what accuracy is?
The main or the correct one.
Yeah, the correct way of reading. Correct in this correct meaning, exact meaning. They may not focus on fluency, how I read or the way I read, but here they focus on the matter, the depth, the message that is conveyed in the text, accurate message. That's what it means. So it involves higher level of attention to the details. They note down every detail and they take in. When they read, they try to take maximum details from the short text. You may be given a short paragraph which has 5 lines, but you can collect more information when you read this kind of reading, that is intensive reading. To learn the meaning of each word, each and every word, this process involves learning each and every word. This is a useful tool of learning a foreign language. Mainly, this method could be used when you are learning other languages or when you are doing a research. This method can be helpful. The other way of reading is extensive reading. What does it mean? It emphasizes less on accuracy, which means they are not going to get into the matter much deeper, but they focus more on the fluency, the flow of the reading. So this is kind of a relaxational reading. There may not be any intonation. In the first reading, they give intonation, stress, pause, and everything that could be given in the grammatical way. But in this case, they may not follow, they may not express. For example, exclamatory mark is there, they may not show that there is an exclamatory mark by reading. They may read it like out of the classroom, and I meet my friends, and after meeting my friends, I went for lunch. They may read in a normal tone, but they understand because it is for their own personal reading. They read it for a relaxation, kind of relaxation, to relax themselves, or just to get the basic idea in the text. So that kind of reading is called extensive reading. They may not focus on the commas, apostrophes by reading. They know there is a comma, but they may not show it in their reading. What is showing in reading? When I find a comma, I may have to pause. No, they may not pause. They may read it together. They may read continuously without pausing. That's called extensive reading. And this is mostly done out of the classroom, not inside the classroom. Because when you do it in the classroom, the others are listening. So you may have to give the proper, accurate pause, accurate intonation, stress, whatever you call it. This is personal reading. When you read a novel story, you may use this method. And Bamford here suggested that the motto of extensive reading is reading gain without pain, without giving stress, without thinking too much. We are reading normally, relaxed in a relaxed manner, but we are gaining the knowledge or whatever the source from the text. That kind of reading. And the other type is skimming. What is skimming? Skimming is just going through the text quickly. It is to get the whole idea, the main idea, the ultimate concept of the skimming. Like those who prepare summary or the short note of the whole essay or the magazine, they may use this method very often. And grasping the overall meaning or gist of it. Gist means what is nothing but the summary. Extracting the main theme or the core of the text by a quick reading process. They take out what is extracting, just taking out, nothing else. There's a book with 500 pages, but you may convert it into 1 or 2 pages by taking the summary of the textbook. This is the method for that kind of reading. We use the method skimming. Not necessary to pronounce each and every word of the text. You may just read in a hurry manner. For example, pre-reading is the process of glancing a text. This the last syllabus or last syllable of the word may not be heard because your aim is not to read to the others, but you are reading it in a personal, for your own reason, your own personal reason, to get the summary of it. Your aim is not making someone to understand. Since you are aiming at since you are aiming at getting the summary of the text, you may read it in as much fast as you want, but you may have to focus on the main words. Giving whole attention on the subject matter, on overall view of the text, and prepares himself to answer such questions. When we study, be it schooling or the college studies, we may have to we may have to use the method of intensive way of reading. But more often, what do we do? We just skim. We just get the summary of the story, summary of the novel, summary of the short story, summary of the poem, and we just answer in the English examinations. Though that is not the proper way, but that's what we are doing. And the other one is scanning. What is scanning? Collecting a particular information. You are reading a newspaper and you are searching for a news which involves in where where you need to find the invention, any new invention in technology. So in that context, what you have to do? You are only focusing on the new invention, the word invention. You may search for the words related to the word invention. That kind of reading is called scanning. You search for the particular information, particular detail, involving the ability to reject or ignore irrelevant information. This one involves, if you are going to scan, you must have the ability to reject or to ignore the informations which are not relevant to the thing for which you are searching for. Locating a specific piece of information in a paragraph in an essay, you should have the ability to locate the specific piece of information that you're searching for. The reader has to go through text quickly and focus his attention on the relevant parts of the text. And where do we use skimming and where do we use scanning? Skimming. When we are going to write the summary of a given text, we have to just skim. We cannot go word by word, or we cannot read selectively like scanning, searching for a word, or searching for the year and birth year or someone. That kind of reading is not applicable to write summary. When you are taking down points, when you are taking note making, or in those contexts, you have to use skimming, because in skimming you can find the main points, main concepts to be taken out. When you are asked to rewrite the subject matter in your own words, you may have to do skimming, not scanning. In questions in schoolings, we may have come across this kind of question. We may be given a paragraph for which you have to find a suitable title. In that context, you may have to do skimming. When you skim, you will get the basic concept idea of the paragraph. Next one is extract the central idea of the text to get the main idea, the core theme of the text. Scanning, we look up a word in the dictionary for meaning. For example, when you search words in dictionary, no, that comes under scanning. Telephone number in the directory, that comes under this type. Find out results of candidates from the Gazette. This is nothing but an official newsletter of an organization. To give a specific data or information on something. One other example, practical example I can give you. And there are thousands of articles among which you want to find an article on demonetization, or the recent one, COVID pandemic, the effect of corona, the impact of COVID-19. And when you know what you are going to search for, you will just scan for the words related to COVID-19 or pandemic or lockdown. These kind of words, you will look for it, and when you find these words, you will pause and you will select that article. No, that kind of reading is called scanning. For example, I am giving you a paragraph which can contain a biography of someone, and I'm asking you to find the birthday or birth month of the author. You may look for the word January. You may look for the months and days of the year mentioned in that article. So that type of reading is called scanning. And this is enough. Already it's time. Only three of you are there. Huh? Okay, guys, was it helpful? Do you have any doubt? This is where I end.
It's helpful.
Have you gained something? If you need if you need clarification on anything, kindly send a message to the founder, Mr. Vijin, and he will forward it to me. I'll reply him and he will forward the answer to you. Okay, is that clear?
Okay.
You want to share anything? You can just unmute and speak if you want to say. Please feel free. Past tense, hello app. Nothing, sir. Continue.
Today class was good, sir, and I understand uh, uh, where to stop in the time of reading.
Good, good.
That I know.
I want to make sure one thing. Did you find that I was not able to explain a certain concept well in an elaborate manner? Did you feel that in that manner? Did you feel? Do you get my question? Did you feel as if I was as if I was not able to explain a concept or any rule? Did you feel in that way, or you felt that everything was okay and everything you understood?
Yes, sir, it's understood, sir. Because most of the thing we know that, sir, about the reading. The main thing about reading is where we stop and when we start again, like that. It's understood.
Okay, done. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Congrats, Murugan. Keep taking effort. Huh? Don't worry about the others. But if you continue to take effort, you will surely learn the language. Not just English, any language you want to learn.
Okay,
All the best. All the best for your studies. What are you doing actually?
sir, formed students.
Pardon?
Formed students, sir, farmer students.
Okay. Anyone else? You have nothing to say. Thank you so much. I'll wait for 30 seconds. If you want to say, you can unmute and say. If not, I will thank you and I'll leave.
Hello, sir.
Sorry, friends. Again, I had a short power cut. Okay, thank you so much for attending this class, and this was a good experience for me. At least three of you interacted well. Thank you so much, and all the best for your any mission, whether be it studies or work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.